Our guest at this time is Brad Ward. Brad is the new executive director of the Huntingburg Foundation. We want to thank you, Brad, for being our guest, and tell us just a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, first of all, Paul, thank you for having me here with you today. To give you a little background, I am from Du Bois County. I grew up here in Jasper, graduated from Jasper High School in 2001, and went off to DePaul University up in Greencastle. And it was there that I truly became more and more educated about my nonprofit work and my background in volunteerism and so forth. And we talked a little bit about that when I was growing up here. I was certainly invested in the different issues. I think my first venture was with the Humane Society when I was 9 years old. I think that was my mother's response to, you can't have a puppy at home, so just go down there and volunteer. But and from there, you know, I had my DJ business where I really saw that as a catalyst to become engaged in the community and work with youth, and I think that just continued to build in my enjoyment of nonprofit. And at DePaul, I sharpened that a little bit, studied sociology, traveled many places around the world, I believe 26 countries in South America and Europe, and I did a lot of different experiences. I know when I was in Ireland, for example, I did conflict studies, and when I spent time in France, I was doing sustainable living, and I tried to get a full range of experiences, and traveled here in the United States as well, worked with Habitat for Humanity International, and worked on the Navajo Reservation in many schools throughout Indiana. I was tutoring and mentoring, working with schools, and spent time in the Philadelphia and inner city schools there as well. So it's just been an exciting roller coaster of experiences to learn different valuable concerns that the community might be facing, and then to try to figure out how to rehome that back here. After DePaul, I was with the American Cancer Society in Bloomington, and I serviced a large southern territory here in Indiana, and I just realized that I wanted to be back in this community. So when this opportunity came about, it was a natural fit for me to take all those experiences and see what I could do for my own community, to be someone that folks could work with, to address the community issues. And clearly, you know that the foundation serves a very unique role in addressing those needs, because it's not just about addressing them today, but preserving funds for tomorrow and the future. So that it was a natural fit, and I'm certainly glad to be living here in Jasper and working here in Jasper, and it's been a blessing so far. So,
Brad, it's a pleasure to have you on, and you obviously traveled many countries.
Yeah.
And knowing you through all these years, it looks like it's been very healthy for you.
I think so. There was a lot of bumps along the way, you know, but I think it really has rounded my understanding of how people respond to issues and the types of needs that are out there. And so it certainly has been beneficial to me, and I hope that I can provide that knowledge and that experience to someone else and put it to use, make it valuable. So
how you traveled many countries and spent time in different parts of the world. Language barriers. Was there a language barrier for you?
Absolutely. In majority of the places I spent time, there was a language barrier. Even here in the United States, when I was working with Habitat down in the Deep South, I ran into it on the Navajo Reservation. There was a language barrier among the generations, the seniors and the children. And so I think the best way was I tried to use my personality to the best of my ability, the outwardness of approaching people and being friendly and letting them know that there was that barrier. But I don't believe it ever really stood in the way of understanding culture and understanding. And one thing that transcends language is just people's innate ability to welcome, one another and to embrace you in the community. So.
Well, you probably had that language barrier a little bit in Du Bois County with the German dialects we have in the different communities, and the German English, and
yep.
So that gave you a good background.
Yeah, absolutely.
So anyway, we're talking about now. You are the executive director of the Huntingburg Foundation. There's a lot of different facets of that.
Yes.
And we can just maybe go down the line on some of them. What are the needs of a foundation? Why do communities need a foundation? or should have one?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, because what you're talking about when you talk about the needs of a community foundation and the needs of a community, they go hand in hand. The best way to explain it is we have so many charitable organizations here in the community. We are blessed with very, very strong organizations here, and they have an operating budget just like any organization, business or nonprofit. And they're constantly working to build those funds to sustain themselves and do the good work. And so the unique aspect is when you give to many of your favorite charities, you're allowing them to do business today. And it's almost as if you give them your funds and they've deposited into a checking account to be spent tomorrow. The unique role of a community foundation is to not serve as a checking account, but a savings account. It's about investing those funds for permanence. So when you give $100, for example, that $100 is invested with the community foundation, and it remains invested. It's never spent. And you say, well, what good is that doing for my charitable cause? Well, the earnings on that $100 is how we support organizations, charitable projects, scholarships, and things like that. Now you say, what kind of earning power is there on $100? Well, it's not as significant until you pool all these resources. And when you start getting into the range where we are today of nearly 2.4 million in pooled assets, you can see the value that can be contributed back to charitable organizations. In fact, we have a long history here in the community. The Huntingburg Foundation was established in 1977, and since then we've seen so many projects being supported. In fact, in Du Bois County alone, those organizations I talked about that are operating day to day to meet the needs, we've contributed about $125,000 in granting to them, and then within individual community, we've represented in every community in this county for different charitable projects through grants and so forth. But what's even goes beyond that is it's an opportunity for a donor to really hone in on what is their charitable cause. What are they interested in? What do they want to see last forever? What needs do they want to meet? Is it art? Is it history? Is it something about education that they're invested in? And they say, I give every year to this charitable cause. I'm on the board of directors for the Huntingburg Youth Center, the Teen Outback. So I want to give to them every year to operate, but I want to see them last for a very long time, to meet the needs of generations well beyond me. So I would want to invest in a community foundation to establish a fund, for example, that is going to invest over time and bring back dividends to the youth center from here beyond. And so that's the unique avenue of community foundation. And it's a very new phenomenon. I think as we as individuals continue to grow wealth or grow strategically in charitable needs, giving isn't something that we do on the spur of the moment. We see an influx of giving during times of need. When the hurricane hit, or when Evansville was hit by a tornado and so forth, we saw an influx of funds, but then it all dissipated when the community was unaware of the needs. But I think all of us know that there are needs that are ongoing. And so that's where a community foundation is more strategic, because it's really looking to invest in our quality of life. It's looking, what is the best way to meet those needs today and tomorrow? To be flexible enough to take those funds and grant out now, but also serve the needs tomorrow. So I hope that answers the question.
Well, that did very good, and the thing about the needs of a foundation and that type of thing, people donate and fundraising, pooling the funds. You talked a little bit here about the pooling of the funds, and that's what the needs of the fills the needs of the foundation. Tell us a little bit more about fundraising in the foundation.
Well, clearly, many folks, would see it as this is something, a large gift is the only way this can be done. And in many ways, that is the case. We are very fortunate. People that include the foundation in their estate planning or their will, or they bequest us, earnings from their IRA that it's simply more than they ever will assume. And that is one case, but it's more relevant that we receive small donations from $10 to $1 all the way up to $20. It comes in on a monthly basis. It comes in on a yearly basis. It's a one-time gift. That is what is allowing the Community Foundation to operate and then redistribute its wealth to all those charitable causes. So we have right now about 30 permanent endowed funds, and these are donors who gave a large chunk of their assets to be able to build the fund for a particular cause. And what happens is people, for example, there's the Assistance Fund in Huntingburg that provides assistance to those in need, especially during the holiday season, whether it's for food or so forth, or the Angel Mission Fund that is all about trying to provide small gifts to children at Christmas and throughout the year, perhaps school supplies or something. So people say, I don't have the needs to build my own fund today to meet my charitable interests, but I can support those funds and I can support those needs. And so that's an ongoing need that we have, is to grow those assets. And scholarships are the same way. Scholarships, they start out at a certain level and they provide, and I was one who benefited from scholarships, from local scholarships, and was able to go to college. So the funds start out small, but people are giving throughout the time. They say, I want to give to this particular fund, and it grows to the point now where we're not just offering one scholarship, but we're offering multiple scholarships to a variety of students that need that assistance. So that's sort of the ongoing need that we have, and I think that's why we're blessed to see people giving in many different ways. Maybe it's in memory of someone, or perhaps it's just, I know that cause exists within your foundation and I want to give. So it's.
And then the other thing is the funds that now we have, you're always working on grants to increase these funds or matching funds. Tell us a little bit about how you go about that.
Yeah. Well, a prime example of granting funds was when the Huntingburg Event and Community Center came about. They knew that they wanted a space for the community to use. They wanted a large facility that could meet a diverse needs, technology-wise, and just for nonprofits, for-profits, for a range of people. And so when that came about, that was when the unrestricted grants, those funds that the foundation holds that aren't for a specific cause, were able to be provided for that event center. And that has been an ongoing need. We are continuously trying to support that need. And other fine examples have been when Holland Fire Department wanted to purchase new supplies, new equipment. They needed assistance in doing that. So they provided us a grant application outlining what they needed, and we tried to meet those needs. And I could replicate that with countless incidences where people just needed assistance in filling the gap for funding. So, to explain that granting, that's sort of a way in which we're providing ongoing funds for all those other charitable needs. And that's why that fundraising that we do is so vital to those organizations as well, because they simply can't be sustained alone on their own fundraising efforts. We try to fill that gap and provide additional assistance.
Is there, and then you also go after grants?
Absolutely, yep. We have been blessed. Like I said, when we started back in 1977, the community got together and saw a need, and that was to renovate the Old Town Hall, a historic building back from 1886. So they knew that this was going to be a difficult task, so they started pulling funds together from many community members. And as they met that need, they realized we can do this for a range of products and so forth. And then Lilly Endowment came along and said, you know what, we're providing great funds for here in Indianapolis. Now we want to do it for the whole state of Indiana. And they had the insight, intuitiveness to know that they might not be the best vehicle by which to grant out dollars to Du Bois County. How do they know the need? So they established many different gifts, different matching funds that said, let us help community foundations establish, and they can address the local needs. And because of them, we are blessed to have a community foundation in every community. That's how the Du Bois County Community Foundation was established and has done phenomenal work over the last 12 or so years that they've been here. And we, as the Huntingburg Foundation, also benefited from those Lilly endowments. So how we do that is we go after a particular matching grant. We tell the community that X amount of dollars is available for our asset building if we can match it, if we can build local community funds to do so. And that is how a significant function or a significant amount of our endowments were grown so quickly, so rapidly, because community members stepped up to the plate and said, we want to give this gift so you can reach the funds from a Lilly, and we can pull our funds together. So absolutely, and we continue to go after grants for different projects and needs that are in the community.
If people want to donate to the Huntingburg Foundation, how do they do it?
Well, there's a variety of vehicles by which you can do that. And the most simplest form is to come by our office, to visit the old, us in the Old Town Hall, or visit us online at www.huntingburgfoundation.org, so that you can, get our phone number or visit us at the office, and you can look at our different endowments that you might be able to contribute to. Or talk to your financial advisors, talk to your accountants, or your anyone that's helping you with estate planning, and look at the big picture of what you might be able to do in the future, in the long term, perhaps even after you're gone. What are some of the philanthropic goals that you have in mind that you might be able to assist? When we start looking at our overall wealth, we start to realize there's a lot more we can do down the road than perhaps we can do right now.
Brad Ward, it certainly has been a pleasure having you on here this morning.
Well, thank you, Paul. I always enjoy time with you.
Time goes fast,
Yeah.
We could talk about the foundation some more, and I know
I
you
sure
could.
Yeah.
You certainly are built up and excited about the Huntingburg
Absolutely.
Foundation, and we appreciate that and appreciate having you as our guest today
Well,
on
thank you.
27 Topics.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks,
Take care,
Brad.
Paul.